I hope it's working. If so, hello everybody. Just gonna very quickly tweet out about the live stream and then we will get going. So it's been a while. I'm currently working on a little something. I'll just go and quickly put it out on Instagram and Twitter. I think qualifying has now started officially. I'm literally just gonna. I'll be like 2 seconds. I'm just quickly doing this. Okay, yeah. So qualifying's just started now. 17 minutes left of the session. I have got a slightly. Yeah, the setup's pretty much the exact same as it's been for a while. The problem is the app I'm using for this, I uninstalled it. Hello Sam. Oh, actually, that's a good point. I should probably like put predictions up on the screen for next time. I honestly think Leclerc because first of all, that Ferrari has been very quick at tracks like Mexico because I mean Cota's quite a similar track to Mexico in that there's loads of high speed corners and I think that they're going to be very quick, especially in the middle sector of the lap. So yeah, I think it'll be Leclerc on the front row with Lando Norris. I think because Oscar's more of a race day kind of guy, and I don't know if Red Bull are gonna have the pace. But Max, historically speaking, Max has always been good around here. He's one of the best drivers. I think he's the best driver statistically ever around here. So I do think that it's going to be very difficult for him, but I think he's going to be good. I think Verstappen can deliver is what I mean to say. Hang on. Right, there we go. Okay, so I've promoted all the sort of social media stuff right now. I am going to listen to the commentary a little bit. Oh, there's Checo's dad. He had a heart attack when Checo had his crash in Baku, so it's good to see him. I am a tiny bit. Am I under the weather? Nah, probably not anymore. I was a few weeks ago though. I'm currently working on a little project, by the way, guys. It is to do with the history of a Formula 1 team. I am 20 odd minutes into editing it though. I'm not gonna say anything else like when it's gonna come out because that's just gonna make me feel absolutely awful if it takes a while. So yeah, those macros look quick to me. I didn't know chicken could be quick, Sam, but that's a dad joke. Macca's McDonald's. Anyway, yeah, they do look. I mean, they've looked quick since those upgrades came through, and you know, some weekends are quicker than they are others. I am doing well though, thanks. I'm at college now, which is great. When was the last time it was raining? It would have been September, I think. It would have been September, right? Yeah. So, I mean, you guys already know I've started college. Luke said I'm also able to watch in UHD because Now TV launched in Ireland. If only my camera had UHD quality. That's literally the only, problem I have. I'm gonna see if I can... Oh, perfect. See, the good thing is I figured out how to make Sky, half and half with my OBS Studio, which is what I use for this. So, yeah. Oh, I forgot that. Hello, the Versatile. How are you doing? Tell you what, I might actually go and... Do it? Nah, I won't do that. It actually looks really amazing, though. That's really good. I'm watching it on my computer. I'm very surprised it is working right now because often whenever I try to use Sky Go for it, it basically just says, oh, you know, streaming broadcasting software has been found, or you know, you're using that. Yeah, you get my point. But at the moment, Perez is on a lap. He is about to cross the line. The fastest times are 1:17.4 by Sainz. Perez is a second slower than that. Norris is going through the middle sector. No, I do not have Sebastian Vettel's phone number. I wish I did. I think that would be a pretty good brag. But I do have the guy, another person I intervied's number. I think, yeah, that's the only number I have. I don't really do phone numbers, to be honest. I'm more of a DM kind of guy, you know. Here comes Norris coming across the line. He goes fastest by 2.5 tenths from Sainz, but a key point, the Ferraris are on the mediums. Okay, I gotta ask, why does it say... Oh, for goodness sake, I just noticed that. Never mind. Thank you for noticing that, the Versatile. We're in sync if you needed company, Lamau. By the way, I've never actually checked if the microphone's working or not. I really need to do that. Okay, yeah, it is. Okay, good. Okay, yeah, I will go and change that right now. Thank you for noticing that. I didn't realise. See, the thing is, this is what happens. I end up wanting to do something last minute and I rush it. We're in sync if you needed some company, Lamau. I think for this one I'll do it myself because it's the first one in a while. I will try and stream next weekend in Las Vegas. Obviously hardly anybody's gonna watch it because it's so early in the morning. Is it Vegas next weekend? I honestly don't even know at this point. But yeah, Piastri's just finished his lap. It's not a great lap. I think he must have made a mistake in the first sector. Here's a little replay. So he's going into turn 4. Does he lock up? Yeah, he does. Easy thing to do because, you know, you're going from like 170 miles an hour down, maybe 180 down to about like 90 in only a few seconds. The new gyro cam looks so good. Can we all appreciate it? Yes, it is. I love the camera. Next week in Brazil would be good, not gonna lie. I'm not sure about actually doing the race, but... And also... okay, thanks, Sam. The funny thing is, so, you know how they have that F1 Juniors broadcast, right? One of them isn't doing it for the rest of the year. So, because I interviewed one of them, I said, oh, could you put in a good word for me for Brazil? And you know what? Brazil would actually really suit me because, obviously, that's a very historic country and track for F1. But here comes Verstappen, and he's on a good one, and he's the first driver into the 116s, 116.998. Vegas is at 10 AM on a Sunday for me. You lucky guy, because I need to get up at like 5 in the morning for that. 4 or 5 in the morning for that. So, yeah, I suppose you're lucky. I suppose you're in that perfect spot where it's like it's not too late. I suppose this is a little bit late. Like the North and South American races are a little bit late. Luke says F1 Junior Snakes was nah, come on. It's good for like new fans and also for kids. Because like I think like when kids hear like Ted Kravitz or Bernie talking, they probably just think, what are they saying? Whereas like with the kids broadcast, it's like it's really simple. And to be fair, right, if you know, even for like I just noticed the Williams cars are doing pretty well. Albon's in 4th and Colapinto's in 5th. So this is what the running order is. There's 9 minutes left. F1 Juniors should have hired young passionate presenters who actually know something about F1 like you. Thank you. I guess. I'll take that as a compliment. I don't actually know. I don't know the producer at F1. I know the producer at Sky, but I don't know the producer at Formula 1. So, yeah. But yeah, I know one of them. She's actually watched F1 for quite a while, to be fair. And to be fair, right, you don't need to know about old F1 to be a good commentator, in my opinion. That's just like a little added bonus. My favourite thing is how the graphics and camera shots are all in 4K, but the onboards look like they were recorded in 1981. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's like Caesar's Palace. It's good for a certain audience, to be fair, but my little brothers watch Sky, so all opinion, I guess. Yeah. Here comes Alonso coming across line. He goes up to 3rd. Very good time from him. To be fair. Here comes Magnussen coming out of the last corner now. Coming out the petrolhead, and it's not going to be a very good lap. Oh no, never mind. The line's much earlier than I thought it was. I thought he was going to be like towards the bottom, but no, he goes 7th. Here comes Leclerc. He goes 7th now. So the order is Verstappen, Norris, Alonso, Sainz, Stroll, Albon, Leclerc, Magnussen, Colapinto, Hamilton, Russell, Piastri, Bottas, Gasly, Perez, Ocon, Zhou, Lawson, Tsunoda, Lawson, and Hulkenberg. I feel like you should have a decent amount of knowledge from at least 2016 onwards. Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably the best time. Yuki's gone up to third, which is pretty good. Checo's saying he cannot brake for low speed. Then again, we know a lot, so we can ignore that if we want. Yeah, I mean, I suppose, like, in terms of, like, story-wise, it's probably better to know the current stuff. Because, like, looking at we're F1 history aficionados. We're, like, proper nerds for it. I can tell you right now that in 1964, right at this circuit, and in 1968 at this circuit, there were title deciders. In 1964, John Surtees won the World Championship because Jim Clark had a had oil pressure problems on the penultimate lap of the race. In 1968, Jackie Stewart, I'm pretty sure, hit a dog that got onto the track. I don't know if that was in 1968, but, in 1968 there was a title decider here between Graham Hill, Jackie Stewart, and Denny Hulme, for example. Hulme and Stewart both retired, and Hill won the title that way. Funny thing is that in both seasons, Hill had the same total amount of points heading into the last race, and up to 39, and he was a championship leader. He lost the first one and won the second. But what's crazy about that is that the top three in 1964, the three drivers who were fighting for the title, they were all British. Because people are thinking that now they have good, Britain have good representations in F1, but in the 60s, it was peak. They had Sterling Moss in 1960 and 1961, they had John Surtees for most of the 60s, they had Jim Clark and Graham Hill for most of the 60s, they had Innes Ireland, Mike Spence, Peter Arundel, and there was a few others as well. But here comes Russell. He needs a good time here because he is in the bottom 5, and he is going to be coming across the line right about now, and he goes 4th. Oh yeah, I remember the action zones. The action zones were so good, honestly. I miss the action zones, yeah, because like for example, for this you could use Vettel and Verstappen's little incident in 2016. Probably the most underrated. Yes, it was underrated. I absolutely loved that. Like, whenever they were introducing it and they were showing, like, specific turns on the track and like, famous moments that happened there. So, for example, heading into turn 4 of Mexico, you've got, the Vettel-Verstappen battle from 2016. Or, with the last sector, with the last corner, you've got Bottas's crash. In qualifying, or turn 1, you've got Perez's crash from last year. It's quite historic. But honestly, everybody's putting in times right now, and there really is not a representation, really, apart from Verstappen. I can tell you that the most successful Mexican drivers before Checo were the Rodriguez brothers who raced in the 60s and 70s, with Pedro Rodriguez claiming 2 wins and a Cooper and BRM. Was that because you saw my post, or did you know that before? Because if so, impressive knowledge. And if not, thank you for checking out my community post. So either way, win-win. Because Pedro Rodriguez won the 1967 South African Grand Prix for Cooper from John Love, and who was third? I don't remember who was third. Denny Hulme finished 4th. He should have won that race. He had car trouble. And then in 1970 he won in Belgium for BRM. Norris has gone first. Russell said, "Are we safe?" And the answer is negative. And he's wondering how he's not safe, because he's 5th, although he's 7 tenths down. This is crazy, right? Norris has gone like half a second quicker than Verstappen. That's mad. Even turn 5 with Kimi and Bottas from 2015. Yeah, exactly. They had like several incidents in that time, because they had the incident in Sochi as well, coming out of the swooping left-hander. Unpopular opinion, right, but Sochi was a really good track to watch qualifying at, because it was a very flowing circuit. It was just a god-awful track for passing. I knew that because Checo dedicated his Monaco into him. Ah! That is, yeah, so Oscar Piastri's lost a lap time, because he oversteered. It cost him in sprint quali, so he's going to have to be careful here. But yeah, that's pretty cool, to be fair, from Checo. I kind of forgot about that. Another thing is, this is not only many driving terrorism incidents happened between us on the Scottish F1 gate. Yes, many corner cutting incidents were committed. So Oscar's only got 3 minutes to get in a lap here, otherwise he's out. Same with Checo. At the moment, it's Lando, Max, Pierre, Nico, Alex, George, Yuki, Carlos, Lewis, Fernando, Liam, Lance, Franco, Valtteri, and Charles. That's the top 15. So out at the moment are Kevin Magnussen, Esteban Ocon, Zhou Guanyu, Oscar Piastri, and Sergio Perez. So let's see how Piastri does coming out of turn number 3, heading into turn 4, brake at 100 meters or so, and he is not as quick in the first sector. It's a yellow first sector, but he has to try and maintain. He can maintain if he maintains it over the lap, because you got to keep in mind where he lost the time was at the end of that sector, the very last corner, which jeopardised the beginning of his second sector. So if he can have an alright second sector, he might be okay here, but honestly it is going to be very, very tight here between everyone because of how close the nature of this circuit is. Here comes Piastri going through the middle sector, and he is up on Leclerc, but barely, only a tenth and a half up. So he isn't safe with this lap. Checo is at the moment, because he's gone 3 tenths quicker than Leclerc has. But Oscar needs to make sure he has a good last sector here, because otherwise, he does have time to do a slow and then a warm-up, but it's going to be close. And he's gone only up to 14th. Damn it, that's not good enough, especially considering Checo has just gone... Checo's gone to 50. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Leclerc's gone up to 3rd. Perez is in the dropout zone at the moment. Piastri's in 15th. Magnussen's on a good lap as well, apparently. Tsunoda is 5th at the moment. Building a track around the F. Oh my goodness, Piastri's in the knockout zone right now. He does have time to do another lap. Ooh. I think they've got time to do another lap, but it's going to be tight. That is mental. The track is also pretty difficult to pass on unless you're Ricardo or Norris. Yeah, true. I love the unique flooring of Sochi. Makes for interesting qualifying. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. But yeah, honestly, if Colapinto's come into the pits, Ocon has a chance here to knock Colapinto out and put Piastri even more under pressure if he does end up doing another lap. And Bottas has gone up to 14th. Checo Perez might be starting dead last for the Mexican Grand Prix if Ocon and Zhou put in good times here. Stroll's at risk. Honestly, everybody is at risk. The gap between Magnussen in 5th and Bottas in 14th is less than 3 tenths, which is mental. Ocon is down in the middle sector, but it's going to be tight with him and Stroll. Piastri's out. Oh my god, Piastri's out. Piastri and Perez are both out. Perez, Piastri and Colapinto are all out, and here comes Ocon. He's 19th. So it's going to be Zhou, Ocon, Perez, Piastri and Colapinto in the bottom 5. That is mental. Well, I think we can safely conclude that tomorrow Piastri and Perez are going to probably start on a softer compound, pit early on, undercut everyone else and try and gain track position. But this is a nightmare for McLaren and for Red Bull, because a little thing you'll notice is that Ferrari are 2nd and 4th in this session. But yeah, unique is definitely the word indeed. Vietnam and Rwanda 2029. I don't know about... I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I want South Africa back.
For the 2nd year running, McLaren will have a car starting P17 here in Mexico.
So that's not very good at all for Piastri. I thought he was going to be... I knew he wasn't going to be on pole, but I did not think he was going to get knocked in Q1, because Sam asked me earlier who I thought was going to be on pole, and I said Oscar's probably not going to be up in the top, up in the front row, because he's better in race trim. But I didn't expect him to be out in Q1. They've gone to an ad break, but man, that was mad. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Because honestly, that was a very, very interesting Q1 session. So out we have Colapinto, Perez, Piastri, Perez, Ocon and Joe. So actually we've got 5 different teams in the bottom 5. I just realised that. So every team is going to be in Q2. Don't know how many times that's happened this season, but it's not going to be many. That's all I'm going to say. Very impressive from Bottas. How did that happen to Piastri and Perez? Perez lost a lot of time in the last sector because he was 3/10 up in the middle, I'm pretty sure, on one of the times. I don't remember whose time it was at that point, but he was 3/10 up. And then by the time he crossed lane, he'd lost about 2/10, and I think that would have been enough to get him through. As for Oscar, I have no clue. You'd think that, you know, he'd be able to do a little bit better than that. Only time it's happened this season since first time stake makes it to Q2. Is it? I thought, did Bottas not make it to Q2 in a race or two? I'm gonna go and check that actually. Let me go and fact check that. I'm gonna use Stats F1 for that because I'm lazy. I'm not gonna go through every single race manually because that's just, no, I'm fine, thanks. Okay, so seasons 2024. All right. All the drivers. No, that's not what I'm looking for. The statistics. No. Okay, right. Tell you what. I'll go race by race here. What I'll do is I'll look at Bottas's Grand Prix and then I'll have a look and see. No, because he started 12th in Hungary. He started 12th in Hungary, and he started 10th in China, I'm pretty sure. So I think maybe not all the teams, but most of them have gotten through in like 9 maybe. So that's quite an interesting stat. I don't know. I'll let someone like Sean Kelly, who's literally his is literally F1 stats man. I'll let him go and decide that. I tell you what, I'm gonna go and quickly check and see if he's tweeted about that. Hello everybody that's watching. So what happened to Checo? I didn't actually see that. Hang on, I'll go and check and see if.
He's having to just really play with it, and this is something we've seen, and really unfortunate for him down in 18. Oscar Piastri, what a nightmare for him. The first run on the medium tyres, up at turn 4.
Virtual Statman is his name, sorry.
A lock up off the left front, that sent him sailing past the apex and
yeah, so Oscar goes a bit deep into turn 4. That's probably what costed him. Oh, he had to switch tyres. That's a good point, yeah. And yeah, he oversteered and went off. Yeah, Oscar's had poor qualifying in the last couple of races, so he's got to try and make up for that because it's not been great. I mean, he struggled. He did badly in sprint qualifying in America, and he didn't do. I mean, he did okay in qualifying for the race. But yeah, that's a bit of a shocker, isn't it? Perez and Piastri. I mean, we didn't expect Perez to get into Q, you know, to be in the top 5, but we expected him to be in Q3 or be, you know, top Q2. Which, I mean, to say that is mental, considering, you know, Red Bull are literally like Verstappen's pulling stuff out the bag. He won the sprint. He finished on the podium in Singapore and in America. You know, it's not a great. It's not a great look, is it? Albon is ahead of Colapinto. People were saying that since Colapinto came in, Albon has completely bottled it. So that has potentially disproved that theory. I don't know what time Q2's starting at, but is that Haas's car? That's pretty cool. They've got like a jeans machine on it. It's got like a little rabbit. I don't know what that's. I don't know what the rabbit means. Yes, Piastri had some issues over one lap as a late. Well, to be fair, he's always been like that in F1 because, you know, it'll take him a bit of time. I think next season, if he improves on his qualifying, he will. I think he'll be in the championship contention if McLaren give him the car. is what I've kept saying is Max is him. Yeah, he is.
And the fact that Piastri and Perez are now both out as well, that gives you
No
a
way
bit
was
more
that the score.
breathing space maybe in the battle
Hang on
for
a
the top 10.
second. I need to check this. I don't believe this. No way was that the score.
Normally expect to see there, so I think great for competition. This makes their life.
Holy
Good
moly.
luck, and we'll speak to you in a bit. Thanks ever so much.
Hang on a
James.
second.
Yeah, Gasly, 6th fastest,
Don't want
Tsunoda,
that.
7th fastest.
Look at this,
Hulkenberg,
guys. I don't know if you
8th
can
fastest in that
see it.
session as well.
Barcelona beat Real Madrid 4-0.
Last team, you know, 5th and 8th in that.
Lewandowski scored 2, Yamal scored 1, and Rafinha scored 1. That is mental. That is... oh, dear. That is absolutely crazy. But yeah, Q2 is just about to start. It has started. 14 minutes and 20 seconds left.
Compare them with Aston Martin, you know, massive
Let's
budget,
see.
not as big a budget, and, you know, who's on current form at the moment. 4 races in a row, including in terms of
go.
Grand Prix, including the Austin Sprint, have scored points. So,
Tell you what, I am going to be a bit cheeky. Barca scored 3 goals in the last 20 minutes. Yeah.
You can do so. Need your Sky Sports app, your Sky Sports login, or you can press your interactive button if you're watching on Sky Stream, Sky Q,
Right.
Sky Glass, or now as well.
Q2. Let's do this. Okay, so the Ferraris are just heading out on track right now. Let's see if they can potentially put themselves even further in the ring for the title. Because I mean, think of it this way, right? They are not out. They are not out of the construct. I think, right? I genuinely think Ferrari are going to win the constructors because they have been phenomenal in the last few races. Holy hell, that's a big domination for El Clasico. It is. I mean, I think they beat them 4-0. I don't know if it was last season or the season before that. But yeah, Real Madrid just love getting spanked by them. Has McLaren's domination somewhat stagnated? I wouldn't say. I mean, they have had some very good races. You know, Lando dominated in Zandvoort, and in Singapore. But I think Ferrari they've stepped it up. I think, and I think Carlos is being a better second driver than Oscar is on form right now. Anyway. Like, if you look at, like, the last few rounds, I mean, maybe I'm just, like, being, like, really weird about it. I'm just thinking of, like, the last couple of races, but I'm pretty sure in the last few races, Oscar's been outscored by Carlos Sainz. I don't know, though. Let me check that. I don't want to be spreading false information or having opinions that are based on false information. Okay, so I've got the standings here. Why isn't it? Is it this? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Right, so that is, yeah, that's Oscar. To be fair, actually, Carlos has been closer to Oscar than I thought, because in the Netherlands he finished 1 place behind him. He finished 2 places behind him in Italy. 4 places behind him in Singapore, and then he beat him in America. So actually, he's a bit closer than I thought he was. But yeah, are United on Sky tomorrow? I think so, because it's a 2 o'clock kickoff. But I'm not gonna be watching that. Because all I'm gonna say is I would end up, if United didn't win, I'd end up just raging. Are they not? Oh. Look, I'm gonna message you something. And I think you'll find it quite funny. People blame Lando, but it's very rare for drivers to maximise every opportunity when it's the first time they're in championship contention in their career. Look at Leclerc in 2022. I suppose, but the thing is, I think, like, the best drivers do really well the first time they're in a title battle. So, like, I mean, if you look at, like, Jim Clark, right? First time he was in a championship battle was in 1962. He only lost the title because he had mechanical problems. Then Niki Lauda in 1974, he only lost that because he had mechanical problems. he literally, like, he dominated, in my opinion, right? Lauda dominated in 1974, but he had so many mechanical troubles that he never managed to perform. Verstappen saying the rear tyres were a bit tricky in Sector 2, and then his engineer says, what does that mean? And then he goes, low grip. If we're talking about sites, the one I used for the UFC today nearly made me end it all. I love how we're just openly admitting to doing piracy. Now, the thing is, right, in my opinion, right, it's not wrong to do that. If the game isn't available on television in your country, you should be allowed to view it if it's being held in another country. That's all I'm gonna say, okay? Because, like, for example, right, the Germany games, they are never on in the UK, so I always use L'Equipe for that. Yeah, but Jim Clark and Lauda are a step above everyone else to the point where they take the role of engineer and all these issues on themselves, basically. Okay, I'll go a little bit more recent then. I won't count Prost because he was like that as well, and I won't count Jackie Stewart because he was like that as well. Ayrton Senna. Now, he was, I suppose you could say he was kind of in the title fight in 86 and 87, but that car was unreliable. 1988, I suppose he wouldn't have won the title if Prost, if the modern, like, point system was there, but he had a phenomenal season against Prost. Then you have Schumacher having a good season, and I mean, obviously there's the controversy around Adelaide and everything, but he missed 2 races for something that should have been a fine for the team. And also, the penalty he got for overtaking under the safety car was ridiculous and really harsh. Like, I can only watch F1 with whack commentators in my country. Now, I'm guessing, based on what you're saying, that you are in maybe like Turkey? No, maybe somewhere India? Around there, I'm guessing, because F1's on at about 6 in Vegas, and you said it was on at 10, so that's 4 hours ahead. Yeah, I'm guessing India. Special shout out to Ilya Topuria, the conqueror of Volk. Luke, whenever Luke just sends me stuff, half of it is just to do with Volk. I don't even know what it is. This man has an infatuation with him. I know Max Holloway. I don't watch UFC. I'm just not into that. But Lando's on a good lap right now. Liam, we agree? Cooking with Volk is good. UAE. I was so close. I was thinking going with Saudi. Blame all the corporate companies for jacking up the prices and making it an exclusivity to even watch a sporting event. Cough, cough, Dana White. Sam providing the assist for Luke's absolute roast there. In my opinion, right, I think that TV should just be, it should be accessible. And ditch 3 o'clock blackout rule because it's absolutely terrible. Lando's first, 3/10 ahead of Max, and then it's George 6/10 back, Lewis 6/10 back, a little bit further back than George, and then it's Carlos 7.25 back, Gasly 7.5 back, Albon almost 8 tenths back, Yuki Tsunoda 8.5 back, 8 8 sorry, I don't know why I'm saying 8 3/4. Anyway, Leclerc got his track time deleted, I'm guessing because he went a little bit over the line. I have a great example, Raikkonen in 2003 and Alonso 2005. Yes, those are good examples because both of them just got very unlucky in their title fights. Thanks, Sam, you absolutely... Sam was literally, it's like that clip where it's like the song, and it's like a really good pass being played. No worries, Mr. Storr. Just call him Luke, Sam. Just call him Luke. Imagine being able to watch all 10 games per Premier League weekend. Couldn't be the UK and Ireland, exactly. Lando Norris has taken 4 poles in the last 5 races. He won one of those races. To be fair though, right, in America he got lucky with the red flag. He would not have been on pole in my opinion. It was a good lap though. It was a very good lap. I mean, would he have been on pole? Maybe he would have, but I think Lando is the only driver, maybe Lando and Max are the only drivers that are safe in this session. Everybody else is at risk. Obviously, Leclerc's not done the time yet, so he'll need to pull it out the bag when it matters, and I think he'll do that, because Leclerc's strong suit has always been qualifying. Raikkonen was so much better in McLaren than Ferrari. Some theorise that the car took more time to adapt to him. I agree. I think that at McLaren, Kimi was in his prime. Oh, Russell's saying something over the radio about reusing the same set of tyres. Yeah, honestly, Kimi Raikkonen at McLaren was a beast. 2003 and 2005, he deserved both titles. 2004, he won in a car which should not have been winning races. And then 2006, even then, he was still getting decent results with the car, which, again, it was not good at all. My brother and I, we were watching the Canadian Grand Prix from 2007. We were watching it, and I heard James Allen say on the commentary, yeah, Raikkonen isn't doing very well at the moment. At this moment, if this wasn't the man Ferrari thought they had signed, and then he went and just did a barnstormer second half of the season and won the title. And then halfway through 2008, he just sacked it off. He probably would have been third, as Carlos was quick as well. Yeah. I think that the Ferraris would have beaten him. I think because they were just really, really quick. I mean, there's a reason why they got a 1-2. Max has gone out on an outlap. Raikkonen was only picked from McLaren because of Hakkinen. In fact, he said, if you want to pick the Finn. Yes, I do remember hearing about that. It's mad that he only did like 21 single-seater races before Formula 1. And people think Kimi Antonelli's inexperienced. There was a riot about Raikkonen being allowed to drive, and he was asleep 30 minutes before his first race. Kimi, right? Different beast of a man, honestly. Different beast. Since when did you decide to go live without letting me know I'm offended? I'm sorry, honey pie, I'm sorry. It's a known fact that the better you talk English, the better you drive rally car. Yeah, exactly. No, look, I'll correct you actually. The better you speak Finnish, the better you drive a rally car. That's the Makola. That's the Makola. Yeah, Prime Kimi and McLaren got screwed over by reliability, but that Spa 4 win is a stuff of legend in my opinion. It is. Oh, Leclerc's on a barnstormer here. Good for his sector. He's coming in towards the petrolhead section. This is just my personality in Amelia's eyes. Yeah, exactly, that you're Irish. No, I'll explain, right. The reason why Amelia always says, hi, Luke from Ireland, is because my brother is also called Luke. So whenever we talk, she always goes Luke from Ireland. Robin Raikkonen is also a beast. He went from P22 to P5 and hates media, Lamau. Well, do you know what's funny, right? In the video I'm working on right now, I literally make a reference to that, because I mentioned about how a specific driver became the youngest F1 champion, and I said how Robin Raikkonen's got a specific amount of time to beat that record. Here comes Leclerc across the line, 3.5 tenths. I think that's enough for him. Can you give me pots of gold, please? Now, Liam's brother's called the gold. He is a legend, my little brother. But yeah. So Sainz has gone ahead of Leclerc now. He's literally like 1,000th of a tenth behind Verstappen. Yes, they had that story in McLaren tuned right with Kimi and Mika. Yeah, Mika literally controlling the car himself and doing the pit stops himself. Oh no, I know what you mean. The Kimi one, and then he's like this, and then he goes down to earth. Because I remember the story in Toon was like the Scottish fella, Brian Cox, the one that Brian Cox played, not the scientist, the Scottish actor that was in the Bourne trilogy and Succession. He discovers him and he's like, oh my leg, because like a bit of a tree falls on his leg, right? And then maybe Mika Hakkinen just lifts it up. And he's flat, and he's literally like flying, because flying Finn. Oh my god, tuned, yeah. I actually the guy I know from McLaren, he knows the guy who came up with the idea. But anyway, at the moment it's Norris, Verstappen, Sainz, Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton, Albon, Gasly, Tsunoda, Lawson. It's the top 10. Magnussen and Hulkenberg trying to break in. They both do. As Magnussen goes into 8th, and Hulkenberg is going to... Oh, we got yellow flag in Sector 3. Hulkenberg goes into 8th. We got a red flag. Oh! And that is Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki Tsunoda is in the wall. Both Aston Martins are out. So Bottas is going to be in 15th. Stroll 14th. Alonso 13th. Lawson 12th and Tsunoda 11th. But that is a great shame. Balderdash! You promised my son free Robux. Raikkonen is like Shaq, Alonso is like Kobe. I don't know, maybe Albon Q3, right? And he's Liam. That was amazing in 250. Q2 will not be resumed. Yeah, that was the assumption, right? Both Aston Martins are out, which is a shame for them because they didn't look half bad in Q1. Wait a minute, qualifying's right now. Yeah, because it's in Mexico. Remember, Amelia. Remember, it's in Mexico, so it's on quite late. Good to see Yuki's alright. He binned it at the high speed S's. I'm guessing he lost it on the curb. Red flag equals Luke from Ireland not giving me free pots of gold to buy Robux. Emilia always plays Roblox with my brother. No, Yuki, yeah. Shame for them because they were both RBs were looking quite quick, but then Haas has just sneaked in the last second. Alright, let's see what happened to Yuki. Wait a minute. Oh no, it's not at that corner. It's ooh. I thought he went out and went off in the S's, but actually no, it was into the petrolhead section. He locked the front. He tried to make the corner, but the tires were just like, no mate, you're not gonna make that. And he oversteered into the barriers, lost the rear end. Yeah, he oversteered. You're not controlling that. But yeah. Yeah, Tsunoda apologising over the radio. He is out. He's going to be 12th on the grid tomorrow. Or is it? It's 11th. Sorry, 11th on the grid tomorrow. Lawson's going to be 12th. If he had crashed just a few seconds earlier, him and Lawson would have been through because the Haas's were both just crossing the line, just as that. Just like seconds before the red flag happened. Kobe used to say Shaq is 1,000 times more naturally talented than he was, but if he put in 10 times more effort, he could have tripled the success. Do you know who that reminds me of? Right, a player that was that was really, and this is football I'm talking about. He was an incredible player, but he didn't put any effort in. And well, he started to have like mental health problems and things like that. Adriano, Luke will know who that is. My biggest red flag is being addicted to pinballs, not looking at anyone in particular. Screw you, mate. Screw you. Well, that's what I thought similarly at the S's. Yeah, it did look like that, and also that's where cars more often go off. No, Adriano. Ronaldinho was. He did have loads of parties, but he still played brilliantly. Adriano, he was incredible. Like, think about like Ronaldinho when Ronaldo Nazario when he was younger. Adriano was just a tiny bit off that level. He was a phenomenal player. Let me have a look. Here it is. He finished within the top 10 of the Ballon d'Or in 2004. And his career was marked by a decline. His career was marked by inconsistency and a decline in his performances, which coincided with the death of his dad. I'll come round your house. I know where you live. You what, bro? Come stand around him, yeah? Ask for danger, yeah? I'll come out my house and I'll break. Wait a minute. What did he say? And what was it? I'll break your legs or something like. You will see. You will see. Anyway. Yeah. So you're saying if you timed it better? Yes, I'm insinuating the Nelson PK thing. Yes, I'm insinuating that. Yeah. So Adriano, 15 goals in 28 games for Parma in 2002-3. 2003-4 he scored 9 goals in 16 games. 2004-5 he scored 16 goals in 30. Him and Zlatan were absolute beasts up front. He made 48 appearances for Brazil and he scored 27 goals. Absolutely class. Trying to see if I can find.
Let's take a look at that Yuki.
Yeah, when did his
crash
dad
once again.
die?
So look for the front left tire there, bit of under rotation, then the lockup, and that's just slightly put him wide off the apex.
2004 was when his
Just
father
ended up a bit
died.
Too quick, bit too wide, and it's so dusty offline. I think that's why the rear of the car has come around, and then he's had no chance to save it and sent him.
Yeah,
into
he
the
basically
barrier
just
there.
partied a lot.
Pretty unlucky with
I
the
sent you the
Singapore
Danny
turn
G clip on
is
Instagram.
challenging for the
Okay, right.
driver.
Let me
Now,
go and
Charles
find it.
lap time deleted at turn 2 at the apex is an interesting one.
Oh
me.
yeah.
This is
Okay.
something that the drivers
I'm not gonna play
have
it because obviously there's a
more
lot of
over the
bad
weekend. Just be
language, but
brave with cutting that apex.
to be fair, I
Now,
did
they
stick up
have
the
to
middle finger
fully
in this
commit
stream, so
because if they stay a
right
little
here it
bit
is.
out,
Okay.
and lose that trajectory,
Okay,
then
I
that
attempted to
orange
subtitle
curve
this
in some of the
angry
cars,
British guy on
it'll
YouTube.
bottom out,
Okay,
which is
this took
why
forever by the
he's
way, lol.
having to go
What
as
do you want?
close to that
I
as
want to know
possible.
why you just
However,
shouted at
obviously
me
the
down the
lap got deleted,
microphone.
so they're gonna have to really play
What I can shout to you down the microphone for? Have your fucking mouth, mate. I'm a grown man. You messaged me first, yeah? I live in Smethwick, Birmingham. If you want to fucking brawl, come down Smethwick, Birmingham. Ask for danger, yeah? I'll go around my house and I'll break your legs. You will say, you little. You will say. You will fucking say. Huh? Oh wait, stop shouting, dude. Shouting! Shouting! Come to Birmingham now. You up. Come to Birmingham now and you up. I'll tell you where I live. You'll know where I live. I live in Smethwick. Now come on, I'll kill you. You won't kill me. I won't. I fucking won't. You won't kill. Excuse me. You won't kill me because I'm a gangster. Look, shut up, you. And now fuck off. Don't make answer me. Fuck off. You little man. Fuck off. And then he leaves the chat. 2008 Singapore GP intensifies. Aye. Aye. Aye.
Lando Norris with the fastest time then overall in Q2. Lando Norris needs one more pole to tie the most by a McLaren driver in a single season during this 21st century. And that was Lewis Hamilton in 2008 and 2012, who took 7 poles. He's going for Q3. Max Verstappen's going for Q3. 2 Ferraris in Q3.
It's quite interesting. Adriano's son actually plays for
Q3, and then Martin Brundle.
For a team in the second division of Brazil, which is actually quite interesting.
And that's what they have to do. They've been gifted an opportunity with Piastri.
He actually trialled with a Danish club as well. That's actually pretty interesting. Anyway, hey, he was born in Jacarapagua. I used to host a Formula 1 race.
In with a great shot, but they still had to do a lap time.
Anyway,
of that, so well done to them.
Back to the stream. Back to Q3. So Q3 is about to begin. Let's see how that goes. What are your guys' predictions for pole? Originally, I went with Leclerc. Colapinto to Red Bull would be perfect. He is a brilliant driver. I do think that I've watched him since F3, but Red Bull have screwed up so many drivers' careers. Right, who's got who for pole? I've got Lando for my pick. I'm sticking with my guts. I'm sticking with my gut, and that, well, I don't have guts, I have a gut, and my gut says to me that it's going to be Charles Leclerc. I don't know what it is. He's just got that factor about him. He is him in qualifying. I think I lost I lost the wire for my microphone, so I'm having to use a much smaller one, and you can tell. This is going to be good, I think, Q3. It's going to be very, very interesting to see who's going to be on pole, because obviously, you know, Ferrari haven't looked as quick as I was thinking they were going to be, and, you know, Lando and Max have looked as quick as they, you know, as quick as they were in qualifying in Kota. Thing is, Colapinto is young, adaptable, and loves the car with some sensitivity for crazy braking, and he's young, so he can really develop himself around that car. He can. That reminds me of, like, you know, MotoGP riders in that regard, with their sensitivity to late braking. And Luke will know exactly what I'm talking about because we watch MotoGP regularly. Bagnaia, Martin, and Marquez, they are, and Brad Binder, they are very late breakers. And in MotoGP that counts a lot more. So yeah, Q3 will start at
3 minutes and 10 seconds time. So there's a bit of a scramble now to get
10
the
seconds
right
time.
tyres on.
That doesn't make any sense though. How can it be in 10 seconds time if it's...
Are we looking
They must have got the
realistically
time
at a
wrong.
Verstappen
Because for me,
battle,
it's...
or can we put the two Ferraris into
Yeah, it's
the
10:50 right now, and it says
I
it
think
starts at
Ferrari have
53.
pace there if they can deliver it.
Charles is very good over one lap, to be fair. Yeah, sure, in my opinion, right,
They're far from
and I
out.
said this in my interview with Scarlett from F1 Juniors, I think in the last 20 years,
Of making the best
Charles
of
Leclerc is
job.
probably
I don't
been
think his
one
car
of
is
the
handling
best, if
particularly
not
well. He's sort of
the
standing up in
best
the seat,
driver over one lap in
just
Formula
driving
1.
it and seeing how far he can
I think
get.
even better than Hamilton and Verstappen,
And, you know, that, I think,
because
was Max
he can like
clearly
put
had a
in
car that was
performances
totally dominant,
in
but it
cars which
disappeared
should not
into
be
the
putting in
distance. Now
performances.
he's having to really
I think
make
Norris
the
signs
difference
Albon
with the
top
car
3.
in play.
Interesting. Albon in there. Very, very interesting shout. But you know, if you might as well put a bet on that because you might end up getting Leicester City levels of. Yeah, sounds like Albon top 3. Albon top 3. Nah. I mean, unless there's like a red flag and nobody gets the proper timing apart from maybe Albon. But to be fair, right, stranger things have happened. Yeah, I was right. It isn't for a couple more minutes. So yeah, I have to. Yeah. So when I was mentioning about Adriano, it literally says in the Wikipedia his playing style drew comparisons to that of R9, and he was even considered his potential successor.
Many teams that have only one new set. What do they do going into this session? We had a prime example last week for anyone that was watching qualifying in Austin. Do you do a used run first, then a new run, as many and most generally do, or like Alonso did last week? Do you do one new run in the middle of the
This is quite funny. I'm reading about a thing called the Bidone d'Oro, which was given to players who played absolutely awful in Serie A, or like high standards of respect to them of them, and they didn't perform. Adriano won it 3 times. Diego Molito won it in 2011 because obviously he had won the treble with Inter the previous year and didn't have a good season at all. Alexandre Pato won it in 2012. Pato was such a good... Pato was another great player, by the way. He was phenomenal for AC Milan. I do not know how Brazil didn't do better with their international team in 2010. Same with France. France and Brazil and England were massive disappointments on the international stage. Haha, I love the guy, but still. Yeah, I think there'll be a red flag. Fair enough, we've had a lot this weekend already. Yeah, that is true. You know, we had the incident in FP1 with Albon and Behrman, and then in FP2 with Russell. I don't know if there was any in FP3. I'm guessing there wasn't because everybody's been able to do qualifying. But I didn't watch that because it was looking after my brother. So, yeah. Also, I was napping. I had a midday nap. I don't know. I had a nap. Cause the thing is, right, I was looking after my brother, and I must have gotten so tired from looking after him, because my energy levels are always awful. Apart from when it comes to this, surprisingly. So Pato Ward is kind of like Adriano. He's super quick, just not as consistent throughout a championship. I think Pato's got time on his side for that. I think. Colton Herta's had a very good year, by the way, as well. Because like people were saying the same thing about Colton, and then he had this year, which was really good. You know, he finished runner-up in the standings, and he was in the title fight. But you know, polo is polo. So yeah, here comes Q3 beginning, and it comes the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. I was going to say which Red Bull is that, but then I remembered Sergio Perez is starting in 18th, so not that difficult. Same with McLaren, to be fair. How many teams actually have both cars in Q3? Because Haas do, Mercedes do, and Ferrari do. Just then. So, I see that Pato Ward lacks Verstappen polo consistency. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Pato is a lot like Lando in that regard. But both have, and also that they both have time on their side. Alex Blow is way too good for IndyCar. Generally think he's one of the best drivers of his generation. He is a phenomenal driver. I think that, like, and I think he is the perfect example of, like, GP3 and GP2 results don't mean squat if they're with a bad team. Like, he was with Campos, and at that point they were not that good in GP3, and he finished 10th in the standings with them. In my opinion, that should have been good enough to get a full-time F2 seat. I like him doing the hypercar stuff as well. Honestly, right, I think WEC is the most slept-on racing series right now. A few years ago it was awful because Toyota were just winning everything, it was boring. But now, it's good. I am hoping that there is a race at Silverstone soon because I want to go to one. Even if, you know, I know it's a 6-hour race, but still, I would love to go to one just because it's a really, really good series. Also interesting that Rossi's, Valentino Rossi's testing out the BMW hypercar. That's quite interesting. But here's Verstappen in the first sector. He is coming out of turns 1, 2 and 3 now, and onto the back straight towards the end of the first sector, braking at about 100 meters, and his sector time is a 27.285. He really deserves a proper F1 test. Seeing his driving philosophy in that McLaren was incredible. Yeah, it's interesting to see, like, drivers translate their skills over into different disciplines, different series. Lando, 3/10 down on Max. That is not as good. And they're both Zach's main guys, Liam, Pato and Lando. Yes, they are. Oscar will eventually dethrone both. He's already dethroned Pato, he's going to dethrone Lando. Max with another purple sector. I didn't see what his time was, but it was a purple sector. Lando coming into the the end of the second sector right about now, and it's also green, but it's not as quick. Verstappen, when it comes, delivers as per usual, a 1:16.3 his first lap time, 1.2 seconds quicker than Hülkenberg and 1.7 quicker than Kevin Magnussen. Here comes Norris coming out of the final corner, and he sets a 1:16.9, which is nowhere near. Charles Leclerc is the only one that's even remotely close to Verstappen on this lap. But here comes someone else who's set a purple first sector. I'm guessing it's Carlos Sainz. Here comes Alex Albon coming out of the last corner. It is Carlos Sainz with that purple sector. Albon goes up to third, 1:17.3. Problem with WEC is that it's a really impressive series when it comes to reason mistakes of aerodynamics and technology, but the worst of F1 drivers are almost guaranteed to be the best in WEC. Yeah, I mean, it's true that, like, I mean, because, like, on one hand, you know, you've had some very good drivers like Kobayashi, but, yeah. Oh, here comes Sainz. He's 1/10 up on Verstappen. Here comes Leclerc, and he goes second, just a tiny bit, half a tenth. So maybe my prediction of Leclerc could be correct, but that doesn't matter. Carlos Sainz coming out of the last corner now, and he goes first by 3/10 of a second. 3/10 of a second. Verstappen's lap time has been deleted as well. Russell's now up to third, 4.5 tenths. And Lewis Hamilton goes fourth, 6 tenths down. So Lando has bottled it there. Verstappen has lost his lap time, so at the moment it is a Ferrari 1-2. It's a bit of a 2x2 in the first 4 positions, because it's 1-2 for Ferrari and then it's Russell and Hamilton. Let's see what happened with Verstappen. So, did he go too far over the curb? Yes, he did. Yeah, that's pretty blatant. He did, yeah. Brundle's saying, because I'm listening to the commentary, Brundle's saying I think he did it in 3 as well. I think he did too. Albon P3 red flag now, please. Yeah, I think Brundle's right. I think he did cut 2 and 3, did he? Well, there's 2. Or is that? That's 3, sorry. Is that 2? No, that is 2. That is 2, sorry. Yeah, Crofty's saying that the good news for Verstappen is he's still got another set of tyres, because him and Lando were too quick in Q1 and Q2. So they got plenty of tyres. Whoa, hello Carlos. Indeed. 3/10 of a second over Lando. By the way, if you want to go and sync with me, I am at 5 minutes and 45 seconds now. So, yeah. But yeah, Very, very good lap from Carlos Sainz. Brilliant lap. Hamilton on the radio. Hamilton saying it feels different in quali compared to practice 3. It's kind of like the concept of resistance training. These drivers start for the hardest and most physical racing series, so everything else is easy. I suppose so, but with WEC, you've got the argument of, you know, for some races, they need to do longer distances. Because, I mean, what are the shortest races in WEC? 6 hours, so they do 2 hours. I suppose that's the same amount, but they're overtaking more cars. Because they're overtaking cars in other classes, so they have to be a little bit more wary. And, with the 8-hour races, they need to do like 2.5 hours, pretty much. So I think that balances it out a little bit. And then another counter argument to that, the counter argument to what I'm saying would be that I suppose F1 tracks are a little bit trickier than WEC tracks. But then obviously you've got the idea that, they have to lap some cars. Also, the races are less per year, so they've got more time off. However, you've also got the idea of, a lot of them are driving in Formula E and other racing series, Because I think there was a thing about Buemi, I think it was. And I forgot who his teammate is this year. I'll go and check. Where is he? Robin Friends. They're both doing WEC and Formula E, so they're going to miss races. But yeah, it wasn't a great lap from Lando's what Brundle's saying, and he's right. But yeah, it's a good point about that. Yes, yeah, but endurance with less G-force and not even to worry about position and all the tiny F1. Yeah, I suppose you're right in that regard, because obviously wet cars are a lot wider, and also the downforce levels aren't as good, and also obviously the G-forces as well. So yeah, I mean, I suppose like with Le Mans, it's, they're driving 8 hours, but with the other tracks, I'll go and check now like how many 4 and 8 hour races there are. But it's a good point. It's a very interesting point. Let me go and check. They don't have 4 hour races, they have 6 hour races. Yes, so there's Qatar, 1,812 kilometers. Don't know how long that was overall. 6 hours of MLS, that's 2 hours. 6 hours of Spa, 2 hours. 24 hours of Le Mans, that's 8 hours. 6 hours of Sao Paulo, 2 hours. Lone Star, Le Mans, I don't know how long that was. How long was that? Oh, they got reports of these, that's good. So, how long was this race? 6 hours as well. So, again, and then with Lusail, that was 10 hours, pretty much. So, I mean, they do have to drive more distances in, like, one race, but, yeah, Fuji is 6 hours and then Bahrain's 8 hours. So, yeah, it's quite interesting though. But here comes Verstappen, a minute and a half to go. He is coming into the end of the first sector. It's like training to pilot an F-16 being thrusted with an A380. I do not know airplanes. I thought an A380 was a gun. Or am I stupid? I do not know about planes. One of my pals at college does, so I mean, if you talk to her about it, she'd probably know what you're on about. She's also into racing like I am. We're considering actually making our own little podcast, because obviously for our course there's like stuff you need to do, so we're thinking of doing our own motorsport podcast, which is quite good. But anyway, Leclerc got pole last year here. Let's see if he can do it again this year. He's starting his lap now. He needs to beat his teammate Carlos Sainz, who has set a very quick time. I was going to say barnstormer, but then I realised how often I've said that today. I think the only big endurance series that do sprint races are IMSA. IMSA does sprint races? I didn't actually know that. I don't watch IMSA enough, in my opinion. It's like being trained to... Oh, A380 is in like, oh, okay, I know what an A380 is now. I just realised it's like an Airbus or like a Boeing or something like that. I know what you mean. I know what you mean now. I've got it in my head. Okay, right. Sainz has set a purple first sector. Leclerc's got a green. Here comes Verstappen. Let's see what he can do. Is it going to be purple? No, it's not. He's down, but only just. This is going to be close between the three of them. Oh my days. This is going to be close. I think all of them are going to break into the 115s here. Leclerc is just slightly up on his teammate on Sainz. He's up on Sainz. He's got 2 green sectors. And Sainz has gone 2 tenths quicker in the first 2 sectors. Oh, Leclerc nearly spun there. He's gone up to the line and he's lost time. Sainz and Verstappen are so close together. Sainz has gone quicker by a tenth. He's lost out in the last sector. Where's Verstappen going to go? Where is Verstappen going to go? They're all happy right now. Lando's set a purple middle sector, but he needs to gain a tenth and a half in the last sector. Verstappen, second. Here comes Lando Norris. Can he deliver in the final sector? Because Sainz lost out in the final sector. If he can just have a good final sector, he could be in here. Here he comes, out of the final corner. Is Lando Norris going to be on pole? No, he's not, but he goes third. George Russell, 3 and a bit tenths down in the middle sector. If he can have a good last sector, he could get ahead of Leclerc and Lando Norris here. Lewis Hamilton's 7 tenths down, so he's probably not going to be passing anybody. But Russell could get ahead of Leclerc here. Let's see if he can do it. Can he get ahead of Leclerc? The answer is no. So, it's going to be Carlos Sainz on pole. Because Hamilton's too far down. He doesn't improve on his time. So, fantastic last minute of qualifying there. Sainz, Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc duking it out for pole. And it's going to be the man from Madrid, Carlos Sainz, who's of course joining Williams next year, that is going to be on pole position ahead of Max Verstappen, the championship leader, and Lando Norris, his contender and rival that the British media are making up. Sainz's engineer said, "Oh wow, what a lap!" Then he goes, 2 laps, because he had 2 good laps, 2 insane laps from Sainz there. By the way, that is the kind of lap you'd see from Charles Leclerc. What a qualifying session from Sainz. I don't know how many poles he's had in F1 before, but I don't think he's had a pole quite like that one before. Let's just put it that way. Hang on a second. I'm just going to check. He's had 5 poles in his career, but I don't think he's had a pole position quite like that one. He got pole in when was his first pole? I'm checking when it was. So you got pole in America in 22, and then he also got poles in Italy, Singapore, and last year, and then. Wait, what? Am I misreading that? I don't know. Am I misreading that? Because it says he has 5 poles on his wiki. Hang on a sec. Let me have a look at this. How many poles? He had 3 in 2022. What ones am I missing from 2022? Belgium, America. I can't see what the other one is because it's not in bold. Is it? Oh, it's British Grand Prix, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay. Let's go Sainz. Hope it's a second and final win for Tifosi. This season, yeah, because obviously he's taken a few wins for Ferrari. He won in Britain. He won in in 2022. He won Singapore last year, and he's won in Australia this year. So it'd be his 4th win for Ferrari if he won tomorrow, and his 4th win in his F1 career. Carlos is good at one-liners. He always has been. Let's have a little replay of the Haas, and nearly spun heading into the Peraltada. It was Hulkenberg. But yeah, that was a very, very good qualifying session. I think this setup actually works a lot better with the camera right there. I've got it on top of a light, basically. Oh, yeah, so Leclerc nearly lost it in the middle sector. He kept going on his lap. Yeah, Brundle's saying I think he believes that costed Leclerc front row, and I agree. As well though, because Mansell was his first hype man for his first pole position and winning Silverstone, and his first win for Ferrari was in Mexico. It was, yes. Was it in Brazil? It was either in Mexico or Brazil. I'm trying to remember when Mansell's first win for Ferrari was. It's mad that he's 71 years old. He's never looked older in his age. Let's just put it that way. His first win for Ferrari, it was in Brazil. His first win for Ferrari was in Brazil. Are you talking about his first Grand Prix win? Because his first Grand Prix win was in Europe in '85.
I love the way that.
Is it just me that wouldn't mind a little bit of space between Lando and Max more? No, because the thing is, it just causes arguments and friction. I'm not a fan of it. Let's just put it that way. I'm not a fan of it. Turn 1 tomorrow, though. I bet you right now that either Lando or Charles is either first or second. Because that is statistically, in the history of the Mexican Grand Prix, right, in recent history, the car that's in third on the grid is usually first by turn 1. Verstappen was in 2021, and who was that? There was one a few years ago, I think. He started third and he was first by turn 1. But yeah, I think Lando is in a good position. That's what he's saying. He's in a good position for tomorrow. It's about whether or not he has the race pace, because I still think Ferrari have got the pace on McLaren and Red Bull. I think they're going to get a 1-2 again. I think it's just going to be the same order that it was in America, basically. Leclerc, Sainz, Verstappen, Norris. Norris might be able to beat him.
Let's talk about Q3, that first run getting deleted. How much pressure does that put on you to get that second one absolutely perfect with no mistakes?
Yeah, quite a lot. I mean, naturally,
Verstappen's seen there's a lot of pressure on him to make sure he delivered on the second lap after having his first one deleted, because Hinchcliffe asked him about that.
I was already, I think, under a lot of pressure to have a good qualifying, and then of course my lap time got taken away. So
he's saying that he was already under a lot of pressure because he's Max Verstappen. He's cool as ice, is Max. He's a lot cooler than he used to be.
Right now is so tricky at any track, but when you come to a place where the downforce levels are so low, the track surface grip is so low, you're seemingly.
That's a good question from Hinchcliffe actually about the downforce and the low grip.
Probably one of the hardest tracks to get right. I mean, street circuits are difficult, and this one as well, because as you said, low down.
Max is saying that it's a street circuit.
And the tires overheat immediately. So
oh yeah, I just meant a group battle, not a crash. Yeah. I don't want them having an incident though, like they did in America with, off track. If you want my opinion on it, it's this: the FIA should change their rules about it because it's ridiculous. You can't just dive bomb a car, right, and send you and them off track. And not get penalised. Lando's penalty was fair, but
here in Mexico City for Ferrari. What a run you guys have been on, but first let's just talk us through that lap.
Yeah, very happy, and yeah, great couple of laps. A lot of times around Mexico, you always have the feeling like you cannot put a lap together, and it's extremely difficult with how much sliding there is. But today,
Sainz is saying that he, it's quite difficult to get a good lap in around Mexico because of the sliding, and that he's very happy that he got 2 good laps in.
Yeah, very happy because that's not normally the case around Mexico with how tricky it is.
And then he's saying it's not normally the case around Mexico to get good laps in.
Your Ferrari from the very first lap of first practice. Is that how it feels from inside the car? Because the performances have been incredible.
Yes, definitely. Since Austin, we've done
Sainz is saying that since Austin the car's been a lot quicker, and that from the very moment that they came into the track in FP1 that he felt pretty quick. I'm basically just like telling you guys what they're saying in the interview, and that's why I'm being quiet and listen to what he's saying.
Really solid laps.
Now, how important is tomorrow for you guys as a team? Ferrari, the only one in the constructors' battle with both cars starting inside the top 10. How important is collecting a massive haul of points tomorrow?
For sure,
yeah, that's a good point about the top 10, because obviously Piastri and Perez are going to be working their way up tomorrow.
Those extra 7, 8 points that you get when you win is important for the team in the constructors. So yeah, I'll be just looking forward to
there is a very, very interesting thought for you guys. If Leclerc was second and Sainz was first, right? And Ferrari ordered Sainz to let Leclerc through for the Drivers' Championship battle, do you think he'd do it? That's an interesting... I don't think he would, because, you know, he's eventually Ferrari anyway. That is... I do agree with the Versatile on the fact that Max hasn't matured in racecraft. I still think he is a little bit dirty. But yeah, that was F1 quality. I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are on the Sainz Leclerc thing, because I do not think Leclerc would be led through it. It's better than when he was crashing for fun in 2018. Yeah. He has improved a lot from those times, but he's still not great at wheel to wheel. He pushes drivers off the track far too much. Like, I mean, if you look at like Leclerc and Sainz's battle in the sprint, that was amazing, brilliant battle. Russell as well. 3 of them battling side by side for 4 or 5 corners. I mean, I think there was one moment where I think it was Sainz was off track, but that was because of what the corner was like. Because obviously he was going down the inside, heading into in the corner before the long right-hander, right? But they kept it clean. They didn't force each other off for no good reason. Ferrari won't say that because he won't pass Lando unless he scores 0 points. It's not an imminent increase in the Drivers' Championship. No, but the thing is, right, is he's quite close to Lando. And also, for me, a valid point would be that Lando finished 4th in the last race, and he wasn't that quick, and this is very resemblant of that. So if Leclerc has a good race, gets himself up in 2nd, Lando's 4th, and Leclerc takes the lead, he gets 14 points if he takes fastest lap as well, 13 or 14 points on Norris if Norris finishes 4th. If you go with that total, he'll finish 2nd in the standings by the end of the season. That's what my opinion of that would be, but I do agree with Sam in saying he wouldn't let him through, because it could be his last win in F1. I don't like it, but blame the FIA, not Max. Yeah, but Max is still a little bit overly aggressive, in my opinion. It's one of the reasons I don't consider Verstappen a GOAT of the sport, but an exceptional driver doesn't rate kind of like Montoya. Yeah, that is probably a good point. For me, right, there's 4 or 5 drivers who stick out compared to the rest in F1 history. And that would be, first of all, Ayrton Senna. Second of all, Jim Clark. Third, Lewis Hamilton. 4th, Juan Manuel Fangio, and 5th, Michael Schumacher. And I think that Jackie Stewart and Alan Prost and Niki Lauda are almost in that conversation. Because the thing is, right, for me, I think that Lauda, Stewart, Clark, and Prost were all in that sort of... they were incredible because they could sense problems with the car an insane amount, and they were very analytical, and they were very, very clever, and you don't get that very often in F1 these days, or as often in F1, because obviously back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you didn't have so many people working on the car, so you needed to be better at that stuff, and that was what separated the decent drivers and the great drivers. That was what separated Jim Clark and Jackie Stewart from your Dan Gurney's. I mean, Dan Gurney was a great driver. He was very versatile, but he wasn't as good at the feedback. Even Graham Hill and Jack Brabham weren't as good at the feedback. For me, it's like 10 drivers, but Clark is by far the best, and the rest are in no particular order. I personally, right, I just love watching onboards of Clark and Senna, just because they're 2 completely different drivers, because Senna's on the ragged edge constantly. Clark, on the other hand, treats the car like it's his baby, basically. And honestly, watching both of them is phenomenal, because both of them are incredible talents. Were incredible talents that we lost far too soon. And the thing is, one thing I'd like to point out is that if 3 race results had gone differently, Jim Clark would have gone from a 2-time F1 champion to a 5-time F1 champion. Prost better than Senna. In many aspects, I do think so. Like, for example, like race setup and, feel for the car, Prost every day. In terms of consistency, over laps, Senna was phenomenal. And over 1 lap, Senna is the greatest driver in F1 history. And for me, there's not even a question of that. You know who I consider a GOAT, though? That's a very unique take. Okay, I am interested to hear this one. Not over a lap, but way better at playing the points game. Prost, yes, absolutely. Prost and Stewart and Clark and Lauda are all in that sort of category where it's like over a lap, they weren't extraordinarily quick. I mean, Clark and Stewart absolutely were, and Prime Lauda was as well. But they weren't on the level of, Senna or Hamilton in that regard. They couldn't just pull quality laps out the bag and go miles quicker than everyone else. But they were very, very good at that stuff. Prost better than Senna is kind of like the edge Rosberg had over Hamilton in 2016. For me, though, it's a bit different because I think that Rosberg, I suppose you can say the same thing about Prost and Senna from 1988 until 1990, but Rosberg really only won that title because Hamilton had that, the engine failure in Malaysia. But if you're talking about mind games, I can kind of agree. Alberto Ascari, he is a phenomenal driver. I do agree with that. But he didn't have any competition. That would be the only thing I would say. In 1952, he didn't have any. And in 1953, Maserati just weren't on that level at that point. I think if he had been still alive in 1956 and he had been in the Ferrari up against Collins and Fangio, I think he would have finished second. I don't think he wouldn't have beaten Fangio, but he would have beaten Collins. He was a phenomenal driver, but he was a good driver, but I don't think he was on the level of Fangio. I think that if you were to separate all the drivers of the 50s, you'd put Fangio in the top category, then you'd put Ascari in the next, and then Farina and Hawthorne and Collins and Berra and in the next one, and you'd put Moss. You'd probably put Moss where Ascari is. He urged Ferrari to invest all their money into those 2 seasons, though. Yeah, he did. In the end, it did pay off, and he was a very, very clever man. And I don't know if you actually know this. I'm going to go in a minute, by the way, because I need to go to bed, but and maybe do a little bit of video editing before that. But the guy who designed Ferrari's car in 1952 and 1953, he designed the same car that Alberto Ascari's dad drove. Because Alberto Ascari's dad, Antonio, he was a racing driver. He was pals with Enzo Ferrari because they were teammates, and later Enzo was his team boss. That's what kind of loses the early 50s, guys, to be honest. Yeah, like the early 50s, it was like every single year there was just one team that was dominant. But the difference was Ascari didn't have any teammates who could compete with him. Fangio had mechanical failures. And do you know what, right? Another person I would throw into the same category as Ascari would be Luigi Fagioli, because Luigi Fagioli was a phenomenal driver. He was older than everyone else was in the field, apart from, I think, Felipe Tansalin and maybe 1 or 2 other drivers. And he nearly won the championship on pure consistency. If he had won 1 race that year, he would have won the title. But he finished on the podium so many times, it was like, whenever Fangio retired, Farina won, and Fagioli would always be second or third. And that was the case in most of the races that year. Apart from Monaco, because in Monaco, it was Ascari second and Sharon third. Watching him drive was awesome, though. I genuinely feel he could give Fangio a run for his money. But I also have Fangio on my goal list. Yeah. I would probably put Ascari, bottom of my top 10. Because the thing is, right, I don't know as much about him as I do about a lot of the others. Because early 50s is not my expertise. 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s are. and early 2000s to a degree. That's my expertise. But what I would say, and late 50s as well, Ascari's era I don't pay much attention to, because obviously Ferrari were just so dominant. But he did win a lot of races, and you know, you don't just you aren't just in the best car for the vibes. You're in the best car because you are one of the best drivers. Simple as that. He is a bit of a nepo baby. That is the only argument I would make. He is a nepo baby. He was a nepo baby. Can I share my top 10 in no particular order? Sure. Mine's would be, and this is just me thinking off the top of my head, I would put Verstappen in there. Or no, tell you what, right? I'd go with the four that I mentioned earlier, which is Lauda, Stewart, Clark, and Prost. And then I'd have Senna, Schumacher, Fangio, Hamilton. And then who would the other two be? See, this is where I always vary. Sometimes I say Sebastian Vettel, sometimes I say Alonso, sometimes I say Kimi, sometimes I say Max. I would probably go with Max. And it's difficult because Seb, Kimi, and Fernando were all phenomenal in their prime. I'm trying to think of who I would go with. Did I say... hang on. Clark, Senna, Prost, Hamilton, Ascari, Mansell, Alonso, Schumacher, Fangio. Sorry, Stewart and Vettel fans. Nah. Stewart was phenomenal. I would... If I was you, I'd read up on his like technique. Because for me, right, and I might be overplaying this because I am Scottish and I've got that Scottish bias, but the main reason he won all three of those titles was because of himself. Because he was so incredible at car feedback that he could turn a car that was okay into a really quick car. Duca Rouge and Gardner were both great designers. Yes, that is true. But look at where Tyrrell ended up after Stewart retired. They never won another title again. And the closest they got was the year after he retired. For me, Stewart is in that top 10, but he's not. For me, sometimes I think he's in the top 5, sometimes I don't. Sometimes it just depends on my critical thinking, to be honest. But yeah, I'd go with Clark, I'd go with Senna, I'd go with Lauda, I'd go with Prost, I'd go with Hamilton, I'd go with Schumacher, I'd go with Fangio, I'd go with Stewart, and then that leaves two others. So personally, with your list, I would swap out Ascari and Mansell and put in Stewart and Vettel probably, and then I'd agree with you. Mansell for me is just outside that top 10. Mansell, Ascari, Hill, just outside. They would just about be outside the top 10. Gilles Villeneuve as well, and Moss. They'd just be outside the top 10. And, you know, there's other drivers that I'm probably not even thinking of, like Jack Brabham or Emerson Fittipaldi or Nelson Piquet. I've never been a fan of Piquet, partly because of the off-track stuff. But, yeah, I'm going to go now, guys. Thank you very much for watching the stream. It's been very entertaining to debate with you. Yeah, I will see you on the next stream. I don't know if that'll be next weekend. I don't think it'll be tomorrow. But, yeah, bye, guys.